So I've taken a break from my Neo 3 and playing with it and gone back to playing with my TV console using the Bazai SteamOS kind of configuration. And last time I did that, I was searching for a Pro-like controller that I could use for that machine. It was basically a PC at that point. And I wanted to upgrade it from the Xbox controller that I had here. And so really, this is something that I've been using and some time ago, I found some really good controllers, like the Vader 4 Pro to upgrade from my Xbox controller that I have here. And so, this is really nice. And I still enjoy using this. It's kind of my go-to still. And so 8BitDo actually had reached out and let me know that they actually have a new controller. This is the new Ultimate 2 controller. And so we're gonna check it out and see what changes there are. And I actually do have an original model. I bought it since it first came out, and I've been using it just on and off until I got the Vader 4 Pro, and that was my main, controller device until then. But let's go and check out any of the upgrades. So we're gonna compare this new controller to some of the controllers I have here, just to give you guys an idea of the differences and some of the key features there, and then I'll give you guys my recommendation at the end of the video. And so if you're new here, it would really help me if you guys like and subscribe to this video. If you want to see more content like this, it would really help me. Appreciate it. All right, so let's get some weird stuff out of the way first. So the unit that 8BitDo had sent me is the one for PC and Android. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Basically, this has Bluetooth and a 2.4 gigahertz connection. So the box here does say that it's using a Hall effect, which it is. It's just that this is using a TMR type stick. And so I'll explain that a little bit later what that means. But basically, it is using a Hall effect. It's just that, so you'll see that the model name is actually called Ultimate 2 wireless controller. And like I explained, that doesn't really tell you much, but it does say down here 2.4 gigahertz Bluetooth and it's USB, but so does the other model that it sells here. Now the other model, it's called the Ultimate 2 Bluetooth controller. So yeah, it's interesting, right? But it doesn't work for Switch even with Bluetooth. Now this one is on Amazon for $59.99 right now. So if you want Switch support, it's $10 more for it, but the name is called, again, Ultimate 2 Bluetooth controller. Confused? Yeah, me too. I have to say I am in love with this white model. It's bright white, and compared to my DualSense controller here, you can tell, you really tell. Look at that. The white DualSense is more of a gray, basically, even though it's white to me, but this is really, really white. But yeah. I've always been a fan of the clean design language here. Everything looks really seamless, no weird gaps. You don't see any like holes for screws, stuff like that. So basically if you want to get inside, you kind of have to pry it open because there's basically plastic clips there. Now you also get all the typical, ABXY memory face buttons. And it has the Xbox like colors, right? So we have an Xbox One right here. Now they've also rearranged the middle section. You see from the OG model right here. And the middle section here, they added a new button. There's a square button now. We'll go over that stuff a little bit later. But earlier I mentioned we have these new TMR sticks, which are a type of Hall effect, but basically the important bit is that they use less battery than the usual Hall effect types you've seen in other controllers. Now also using the sticks, it just glides over the metal really smooth versus the OG. It has a little bit of friction in comparison. We'll dive deep a little bit more later for that. Do note that the texture here isn't as grippy. Like it feels a little bit rubbery, but it's like more smooth than other models here. So now the D-pad here is also membrane, but more importantly, it's much more silent than the OG model I have here. It's just quite a bit of difference there. So the bumper and triggers and the new R4 L4 are in a great position. They really feel nice to use here. As you can see, really good positioning, really easy to grip and press them. Easy to do that. So just note that these new buttons and the bumpers have more of a micro switch feeling. You see the bumpers, more of a clicky sound. And same with these L4, R4 buttons. Now there's also some flashy RGB. I'm going to turn this on real quick. You see that the RGB does turn on right here. You see on the thumbsticks, which they do react. So if I do this, you can see that the sticks are colored purple right now. And you see them, they're happening on both of them right there. So remember that section earlier I mentioned? So the start button has a function that allows us to configure a bit of it while the rest of it can be done in their software. Now, the other square button is used for assigning the extra buttons that we talked about earlier. So for example, if we want to assign R4 to the right D-pad, I hold R4, right? And then I hold the square button and the right D-pad at the same time. So I do something like this. You can see that it is blinking and I'm holding the button. That means that it's actually triggered now. For example, now if I want to turn it back off, I just hold the square button. Now see when I press R4, you don't see the light come up, which means that it has been unassigned. All right, so I wanted to give a quick demo of the RGB. So basically what you can do is you hold the start button right here, and then you can turn down the brightness with the D-pad or brighten it up with the D-pad. Now you'll feel basically once you hit the max, there's a little bit of vibration. Same with if you go to the lowest, it's doing the same thing. So we'll put it back to max brightness. Now if you use the left and right, you see that, so if you use the left and right, you'll see that it does change color. It's off, now it's pink, now it's other color. So you can change colors in different modes. So you can change modes and everything, but it's a little bit limited. It is cool though that it does have this built in, and you know, I'm cool that, you know, that it's just, yeah. Now this does let you connect it to various devices like my Neo 3 or any other Android device or PC. So the other upgrade for folks that need the most out of their connection is the upgrade of the dongle's 2.4 gigahertz polling rate from 250 to 1000 hertz. So that's a welcome upgrade. You know, higher polling rates, that means it can read the inputs much quicker than just 250. So about what, 5 times faster. And so also the software has been upgraded to, and you'll be able to set profiles and remap keys and RGB changes if you're into that whole stuff. For me, I'm not really too big into it, but I do want to show the software here real quick just to give you guys an idea. Now, the comparison I think you guys want to see is what's different from the OG model. Now, you can see right here, the face buttons look the same. I mean, the controllers, if you can tell, like, you know, right off the bat, they look very, very similar. And you're not wrong, you know, and some of the things I mentioned are pretty much the new stuff. Now, for me, I mentioned before that the D-pad is different. It's more silent here versus the OG. You know, it's more clacky in a sense. These both are membrane, but you know, this feels like it needs a little bit more force to be pressed, but it's, you know, quite a bit more silent, which I do like. The sticks are also where the changes, like when we talk about controls, right? TMR sticks, basically non-TMR sticks completely. They did a mid-cycle refresh with the added Hall effect sensor sticks here, but again, you know, these are just the better ones. They have this metal ring right here. It's just nicer, cleaner, smoother. This one has a little bit of friction because there's no protection here for the stick here. So it's just a regular plastic one, just like the, you know, Xbox and PS1, PS5 controllers. They also have this. So now let's compare the Vader 4 Pro that I have here. Obviously the price is a little bit different, but if you get the model with the Bluetooth one, basically the same price. The Vader 4 has a closer Xbox profile with the micro switch face buttons, and then kind of like a dish style D-pad for like, kind of like fighting games, kind of like an Xbox as well. Now the special thing is that there's an extra 2 face buttons here, and then the tensions can be adjusted on the sticks for both the joysticks here, and they are also Hall effect. They're not TMR, but they are Hall effect. So yeah. Now also just, you know, mention, you know, from feature to feature, they pretty much match 1-to-1. They have 4 buttons in the back. This one essentially has 4 buttons in the back, right? With, you count these 2 buttons right here. Note that the grip texture on the Vader 4 Pro is much more aggressive here. So when you hold the controller like this, right, you're gonna definitely feel kind of like the texture kind of go across the device there. So yeah, it's a little bit more aggressive versus the 8BitDo is pretty much like kind of like DualSense type of grip texture. It's more smooth. It's not as grippy per se, but you definitely like can still feel the grip. So it's not like gonna fall out of your hands or anything like that, unless you're maybe have sweaty palms or something like that. But now also here's the Xbox controller. Just wanted to show you guys just something that's like from, more mainstream, if that makes sense. The main thing I wanted to point out here is that the more curved face button profile, you see particularly with the B button, right? You see that we put it this way. Hopefully you guys can tell it's kind of like shaped and curved to the grip of the side of the device here. So now the Ultimate is a little bit more flat. Both of them are actually, but the controller handles are more straight down. So I don't feel like it's needed per se, just because the buttons are more like inward to the device. So I don't think it's a big of a deal that it doesn't have it. It's not like ergonomically like flush or whatever you want to call that. But it still feels comfortable, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. So we went over the upgrade changes and compared some of the other controllers that I have available. So what do I think overall? Now, the 8BitDo Ultimate 2 controller, or wireless controller, I should say, is pretty much a very sleek, modern device. Like I said, the build quality is just very clean, very minimal in the sense that it's just, there's not like weird, screws going on, like none of this weird stuff that's really happening like with the Vader 4 Pro. I don't really like that at all. It's just very clean, very seamless experience. And for the price that it's asking for, I don't think there's a lot. It's a hard ask to kind of get a better option, right? There are other options on the market, but again, for me, it's my pick. Whether you have small or large hands, basically anyone who wants an easy, seamless experience. Because when you put this thing on the dock and you bring it up, it automatically turns on and pairs to the device that this dock is connected with, especially if you have the dongle attached. So when you do that, it's basically, super easy to connect, all that stuff. One of the things I did want to point out is like, for example, the Vader 4 Pro here, it doesn't have that seamless experience with its controller. You have to manually turn on the device itself. It doesn't have that kind of seamless experience. Also, if you want a grip that's softer but still supportive, I think this is a really good choice, because if you're used to kind of like a dual sense here, it's very soft. You can feel it, but it's like very subtle, right? And I do like that a lot. It kind of feels more, it feels more elevated in a way. One thing that may have regressed is that the stick texture isn't as grippy or rubbery as compared to the other controllers I have here today for some reason. I'm not sure what happened there, but it just, for some reason, it feels more like smooth than like this more rubbery texture that all these other controllers have, even the OG model here. And so for me, I've been playing with it for 3D games, mainly Clair Obscure Expedition 33 Wukong lately, and it feels good. It's easy to use, very familiar, especially with the OG model I have here. So you're able to remap the buttons on the fly, basically, which is awesome. Adjust the RGB as well, and connect to the USB-C dongle Bluetooth with an Android device. I mean, there's quite a bit of options here, and just, it's a very clean experience. I'm just really happy that we have so many choices on the PC market with the best tech in these controllers, and the 8BitDo Ultimate 2 wireless controllers absolutely one of them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just want to let you know that all the pins are my own, no menu exchange either, and also 8BitDo does not see this video before you guys, so they see it at the same time. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.